go live. So what I'm doing now is, of course, I'm going to share this live. Copy. Okay. I'm going to share this live on Facebook, which is a whole other process. Okay, here we go. And V. And live discussion of Jurassic Park. Okay, and I'm now live, but no, I'm not on YouTube. I just started the live stream, and at 8, in a few minutes, I'll go live and have people. See you on YouTube. See you, Yusuf. You can watch here as well. I mean, it's still content, but you know, better camera over on YouTube. All right, so what am I looking for here? I'm looking for this, all right, and that, and posting, live, and share now. There we go. Live. I'm live everywhere. I'm very excited to discuss. So basically, every couple of days, if you guys are hearing about this for the first time, every couple of days, I do these live streams. We have the movie club, so you can find the movie club public group on Facebook. You can join us. And what we are doing is that we are basically having fun. We're watching movies and then we go discuss them together. It's a fun thing to do now that we are, you know, stuck here in quarantine. And the last movie we picked, basically we pick out of a hat. I have my Uruhara hat here where we pick stuff. And last time we picked Jurassic Park, which I actually find very exciting. It's a very important movie from my childhood and many of our childhoods. And yeah, it's cool. So, oh my God, we have 1 minute. I think I'm gonna just wait and see how many people I get before I stream live. Currently we have 7 viewers. Asad is here. Omar is watching on Facebook. For you guys watching me here on Facebook, this is not the high quality stream. The high quality stream is actually happening on YouTube. That's where the high quality stream happens, and that's where the discussion happens. So most of the members of the club are on YouTube. They're in the comment section. Hi guys. Also there you'll get graphics and images and stuff because I'm doing a proper stream. Here I'm just streaming from my you can dual stream, Omar. Hi, Omar. You can dual stream from your... I am dual streaming. That's exactly what I'm doing. But I don't have the software, and it's honestly a pain to operate. I'm doing this by myself, and I'm already multitasking a lot. So I am doing this on... Facebook from my horrible camera, and the HD camera is on YouTube. So head on over to YouTube to watch the stream, which is about to go up. How many people we have? We have 7. So we have we have some excited people in the comment sections on YouTube, which is pretty cool. But Raz, you're always high quality, says Omar. Thanks, Omar. Thank you. I mean, I try. Oh my gosh. Where is your face on YouTube? Yasser says on YouTube. Well, it's still 8 o'clock, so I'll be live in like 2 minutes. I'll just write it for them, live in 2 minutes on YouTube. Just so you guys, I mean, it's very hard to get people to come from Facebook to YouTube. I'm doing my content on YouTube. That's my main channel. And like Facebook and Facebook Live and Facebook videos, it's just the algorithm is really weird. The algorithm is really weird everywhere. I'm talking about this because I don't want to start a discussion of Jurassic Park until I actually start. Didn't know till you said. Let's see what Omar is saying. Didn't know till you said it. There is a pay multi-stream site and mob crush on Streamlab. I mean, I'll check those things out for the multi-stream. It seems a little complicated, and honestly, I'm not the best person with technology. I actually need to turn on the... 1 second. I actually can't. I need to turn on the AC. I think the AC is off, which is very bad. So I'm going to ask my husband to come turn it on. Oh, the YouTube audio is on. Well, that's bad. Okay. Hi guys. Okay, so yeah, during the standby, my audio was on. There's always some of these problems. So welcome to another session of the Razz Reviews Movie Club. I'm actually very excited about this session specifically because I actually have a lot to say about the first Jurassic Park. I'm a big fan of it, and I've always felt like it kind of gets a bad rep as just being a popcorn movie because all of the other sequels of Jurassic Park are more popcorny, when actually this was a very beautiful film. It was a fun film, of course, and it is a popcorn movie, but also like there are elements in it and aspects in it that are a little bit more than that. If you guys have gone back to rewatch it in the last couple of days, now as adults, or watch it with a serious eye, maybe you've noticed some of those things. I actually think it's an incredible script, and it is based on a very beautiful book. The name of the writer I don't remember, but it's a pretty cool book, and the book itself is actually very philosophical and raises very, very cool questions, as most sci-fi films do. And this is definitely, it's not a monster movie only, it's a monster movie and it's a sci-fi movie. The rest became more monster movies, just monster movies, and it lost a little bit of that deepness, I think, the franchise. And I also find like people stopped taking it as seriously. But I actually think the first film is a very beautiful script, and I have a lot to say about it. Let me say hello to you guys here on YouTube. Hi. I hope you guys are doing well. We have Yasser, Asad. Hi, Asad. It's the first time I see you on YouTube, so that's nice. So we got a bunch of people here. I think we have around 9 people already on the stream, and it'll be really nice to actually talk to you guys. I'm very excited about that. I'm also streaming live on Facebook, yeah, I can see some of these guys on here. You guys can go to YouTube, of course. This stream is not very high quality, but it's just there, so you have some access to what we're doing. Join the movie club. So I've created a movie club Facebook group called The Movie Club by Razz Reviews, and it's public. You guys can join it. If you're watching this and you're not on the group, you can join the group. There you can make suggestions for what to put in the hat, the Uruhara hat of movies, where we pick our films, and you can discuss as well and know when we're going live and just be up to date with what our next movie is. I'm really enjoying doing these. I hope you guys are doing well in quarantine. I am getting a little crazy, a little stir crazy. It is tough to be in the house. Recently I just step outside and I just breathe fresh air, try to get some sun. It's been cloudy over here in Dubai, so it hasn't helped. But honestly, these streams are fun. These movies are fun. I'm enjoying watching them, and it's actually been making me feel a little better. I hope you guys are feeling better. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Michael Crichton. Yeah, Michael Crichton is the author of the book. Yasser is reminding me, Mr. Smarty Pants. Yes, I know it's Michael something. But yeah, it is actually a very cool book. I read it a long time ago. I barely remembered, but I do remember some elements of it, or I remember the elements from it that are in the movie because they stuck together in my head somehow. But yeah, so our film for this week was Jurassic Park, and I mean, this movie made dinosaurs really, really cool. This movie came out in the 90s, in 1993, and it was such a big success. It was one of the highest grossing films of all time, and it just was such a sensation. It made a whole generation obsessed with dinosaurs and with paleontology, and it just changed a lot of things about our culture. It's such a pop culture icon, but also changed a lot of things in cinema making. I mean, it is directed by the fantastic Steven Spielberg, and he's one of the most important icons in film and cinema. No joke, Steven Spielberg. And this movie has sort of stood the test of time for me, which is what makes it really important. It is on a lot of lists, and it's on the top 100 greatest lists of all time. That's why it's on our list, and that's why it's in our hat, and we picked it. And I mean, I remember watching it as a kid. I remember every second of it. I memorized this movie, and I remember the experience of watching it for the first time was really, when you think about movie magic and you think about cinema magic and that feeling of just like being at awe with films, you know, as a kid, just like, wow, magical world. in front of you just opens up, Jurassic Park really does come to mind. I want to hear your first impressions and what you guys thought. Let me just pop up the chat here a little bit. I want to hear your thoughts, what you think of the film. Did you guys watch it again now and see it differently? You haven't seen it in a long time, or you've seen it a lot? Neo says, I have to say I'm the biggest fan of the T-Rex. Okay, sure. Yasser's talking about the dust and the allergies. Yeah, it's been not nice weather. Yasser says, my God, I can't tell you what it was like watching this in the theaters for the first time. It made non-monster movie fans huge fans. Sure, yeah. I mean, it had mass appeal, which is why it was so successful, because there's something there for everybody. Kids enjoyed it, adults enjoyed it, horror fans enjoyed it because there is a little bit of violence there, a little bit of horror elements brought in by Steven Spielberg from his touches in Jaws. You can see it here, his elements. It's action, it's fun, that beautiful score, and of course the advancement in technology in this film. I will talk about the production of this film. I will start talking about that a little bit before we go into the analysis. Spielberg cranks up the movie magic to about 1000, says Yasser. Yes, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, this movie has a lot of things going for it in terms of what it did to cinema and the changes it made. I mean, the process of making this film is like alone worth us discussing. It was a pretty spectacular production going into it. I mean, Steven Spielberg, first of all, Steven Spielberg was actually extremely excited about doing this film. And interesting little tidbit, he beat out James Cameron for the rights. Him and James Cameron were interested in doing the film around the same time. And this is, like, I could do a whole other discussion about the parallels between James Cameron and Steven Spielberg. There are a lot, okay? They're sort of like competitors, they're sort of rivals, and even their films and some of the things they do are very similar, and they excel at very similar things. But yeah, at the time, Steven Spielberg wanted the rights to this film, and he won them from James Cameron. He also had a very good relationship with the writer that Yasser mentioned, and he ended up winning it. And he struggled a lot with how he wanted to do the dinosaurs. There's actually, if you go online, you'll see a lot of footage, test footage. They did a lot of test footage for Jurassic Park before they actually shot it, because they didn't know what they wanted to do. They wanted to do animatronics, stop motion, or computer generated imagery. Like, they didn't know what they wanted to do, so they did a lot of tests for it, which is very interesting. And the reason why Steven Spielberg wanted to make this film was because he wanted to make King Kong, or like something like King Kong. He was such a fan of the original King Kong, and that's why the first thing he actually wanted to do was to try stop motion graphics, and or like animatronics, either animatronics, which is basically sort of like robot dinosaurs, if that makes sense. So just dinosaurs that like move. And then he also started going into something, it wasn't stop motion, it was actually something called, I think, go motion, which is something a little bit advanced version of stop motion. And he wanted to do that because he wanted to keep sort of that feel of King Kong, or that he was obsessed with. And they did a bunch of tests, and it wasn't working. And then eventually they opted to go for CGI. And the interesting thing about Jurassic Park, actually, it was the first time that we see, or one of the first times we see a living creature completely made into CGI. Before this, CGI was used for just effects. It was not used to replace a breathing, living thing. So they did some tests. The first test they did, I think they did like skeletons, just skeletons of the dinosaurs, not their skin. And they did that, the field scene where they're running away from the raptors, reptiles. The raptors, they couldn't do that. Like, they did that scene in stop motion or go motion, and it looked a little goofy. And then they did it in CGI, and Steven Spielberg was convinced. So in the end, after a lot of tests, they sort of did a combination of animatronics and CGI. Some of the scenes are pure CGI, and some of the scenes are animatronics, where they're actual like robots that they built, which was also unbelievably impressive. Like this famous scene where they find a sick dinosaur. When there's not a lot of movement, it was sort of animatronics, and then they mixed it with CGI elements. So it was really a mixture of both. And I think for the time, it was very impressive. It was very impressive technology. And even watching it now, like, yeah, maybe it's a little outdated, but honestly, not that much. And I just thought that the way they worked with the CGI, they didn't use it heavily. They did try to combine it with the atmosphere, and it was just so amazing. These guys created dinosaurs, just brought dinosaurs to life, which I think was absolutely incredible. Like, a funny tidbit, the guy who did the Go Motion, I mean the Go Motion technology, actually, was it called Go Motion? I believe it was called, yeah, it was called Go Motion. The Go Motion technology actually kind of went away after this. It was something, it was supposed to be the next step after, after stop motion, but like nobody wanted it, and it was supposed to take off because of Jurassic Park. And the creator of Go Motion, I forgot his name as well. I don't know his name. I'm not that knowledgeable, guys. Give me a break. But yeah, when he saw cuts and the test footage of what they ended up using, which is the mixture of CGI and animatronics, he actually said, famously, he said that his Go Motion technology is gonna go extinct. And then they ended up, like, Steven Spielberg was really a fan of the guy, and he wanted to get him to work on the production because he had done so much work for him in tests, and they ended up not using it, and he didn't want to just throw him to the wind. So he was very touched by what he said, and he actually put it in the film where they talk about them, the paleontologists, being extinct. So that's in the film. And also he did end up hiring him to work on the film in order to, the way that they did the CGI to make it look so realistic is that he built these little Go Motion puppets, and he was doing the movement of the dinosaur that was being captured in order to become the CGI elements, which was also sort of the first sort of like motion capture, early technology, but not 100%. So yeah, so he made the film, and I mean, it completely blew everybody away. He actually wrapped production early, by the way. Something you guys, I know a lot about Steven Spielberg, and like I have all this information in my head. You know, Steven Spielberg has a habit of finishing his productions early, and he finished this, I think, like 12 days early or something. He doesn't go over time, and it's because he combines a lot of shots and shoots long takes and long shots. Doesn't do a lot of quick shots. But yeah, there's some incredible work. Let me see what you guys are saying here. What do you guys think of this incredible movie? Let's see. The CGI element was not expected by people, says Yasser. That is true, 100%. I mean, it was pretty crazy. We have Basil. Hi, Basil. I watched once when on VHS when it was released. Not sure how I feel about it watching it now, after 25 years later, becoming a filmmaker myself. Well, did you end up watching it or not? That's the question. I think you haven't watched it in a while. I think you need to give it another shot now as a filmmaker, actually, because me as a filmmaker, the thing that stood out to me the most was the script, right? Which is what I want to talk about. The screenwriting, I think, is actually fantastic and completely underrated for this film, as a matter of fact. It's actually a beautiful script, and I think it deals with heavy themes, and I think it does so creatively, and I think that's what made it work and stand out for people. And again, this is a Steven Spielberg staple. Look, Steven Spielberg is not my favorite director. He's not. But he is somebody that I cannot deny, and he's somebody that I greatly admire. And one of the reasons for that is that Steven Spielberg manages, more than most directors, to actually, I think he's made a film in almost every major genre, maybe not subgenres, but in every major genre. And he's managed to not make an okay film in every genre. He's managed to make an excellent film in every genre. He's made excellent drama films. He's made excellent horror, excellent monster, excellent action, excellent sci-fi, excellent war film, right? Like, in every genre, you can think of a pretty fantastic Steven Spielberg film. Why is that? And the reason for that is because one of his staples is that he doesn't make films about just about random topics. His films are about people. He really focuses on telling the story of people and characters, and that's why his films have some of the most iconic characters and the most iconic character introductions even. And his characters are memorable and iconic. Ahmed Suleiman is asking, what comedy did he make? Catch Me If You Can is technically a comedy. There's also The Terminal is a comedy, which is an excellent film. That's a comedy. So he has made comedies. Even Hook is sort of a children's comedy as well. I know Hook gets a lot of bad rep. I actually love Hook, but that's a whole other discussion. And the reason for that is because he makes amazing films about people. It's always about people. It's not about the monsters. It's not about the aliens. It's about the people, right? And Jurassic Park is not different. The script and the film focuses a lot on these characters. The main characters, John Hammond, the creator of the park, and the paleontologist played by Sam Neill, Alan. So Alan and John are our main characters, and the way that the script sort of pits them against each other in a very cool way. It doesn't pit them against each other. It pits both of them against their beliefs, and it puts them both, like the film separates them, and there's beautiful like parallel editing, just taking us back and forth between the two different like stories, John Hammond's journey and Alan's journey, and just them facing their own belief system and finding out sort of that what they think is true is not 100% true. And their beliefs feed into the main theme of the movie. This is what I like about the script of Jurassic Park. That it's highly thematic. And there are moments where it's not all, like, again, when you talk about the sequels of Jurassic Park, you find all of this just running around and action and monster and eating. It's not. There are moments in Jurassic Park, again, if you've rewatched it now, like I challenged you to, you'll see how many silent, quiet moments of characters just discussing ideas and talking about the philosophy and the moral behind of what they're doing, and that feeds into the theme, and everything that happens in the film actually pushes that theme forward. So let me dig in, following up on what Basil was saying. What is the theme of Jurassic Park? There are many themes, but people might say, oh, it's man against man taking on the role of God, man taking on creation. These are all elements of it, sure. But the main theme and the thing that the film follows through with the most is the theme of progress, okay? And progress, and you can also call it evolution, okay? And you have two main characters, John Hammond and Alan. Both have a very specific idea and opinion about progress. John Hammond believes in progress to his very core, and he believes that progress must be made at any cost, no matter what. And that's why we hear him say his catchphrase all the time, which is, I spared no expense, I spared no expense. Whatever it takes, we have to keep looking forward towards the future, right? And on the other side of the coin, and on the other side of the argument, you have Alan. Alan hates progress, hates evolution. He's a paleontologist. He spends all of his life digging in the dirt and looking towards the past. So he doesn't like anything that's new. So, and that we see that in his first scene, in his introductory scene, he's completely introduced as somebody who's anti-progress. Why? Because A, he doesn't like technology. The first thing they are doing is that they are digging up these bones in the desert, and then they show him this computer screen where like, oh, look, now we can, instead of digging, we can look at the x-ray, I don't know what, underground, and we can see the bones. And he hates that. He hates that technology, and he's like, what? No, this is horrible. We even see how he doesn't like children, and children are the ultimate representation of progress and the future and evolution, right? They're the next step. And he doesn't like children. He doesn't want children. He has the conversation with Ellie, his girlfriend. I think her name is Ellie, the doctor. Ellie Strand, I think her name is. And they have this argument about how he hates children, and even there's a kid there and he's mean to him and all that kind of stuff. So he's already introduced as somebody who's anti-progress. And then the movie puts them together on Jurassic Park, which is, again, the ultimate representation of progress and evolution, right? John Hammond created dinosaurs, and like that's the next step in the technology that we have, is that we can start creating life in a sense, or recreating life in a sense. And is that a good thing or not? And then the movie puts them separately on two separate timelines, and each one of them starts facing that thought, right? That opinion, that stance, okay, which again feeds into the theme. You have John Hammond on one hand, as he believes that progress should be done at all costs, and then once the park gets out of hand and the system shuts down and the people start dying, he starts to realize little by little that at what cost? You know, you are creating progress, but should you? should you do that? And he ends up regretting that. Let me see. There's a lot of comments. I'm going to pause for a second. I have a lot to say. I told you I have a lot to say about this, but I don't want to leave you guys out of the discussion. Yasser says, this could have gone terribly wrong, but Spielberg made it work in spite of the fact that the book was really dark at points and horrific. Yeah, true. I think James Cameron, if James Cameron wanted to do it, I remember him saying that because he loved the book as well, and I think if he would have done it, he would have made it a lot more like, dark and violent. He would have gone darker, similar to the book. Yasser says, yeah, the key dichotomy, the key dichotomy between the ideas of progress is really big in the movie. The 90s is when scientific process was rapidly changing, especially with computers. Yeah, exactly. Spielberg is the king of representing kids on screen. Yeah, that is true. Yeah. Okay, so exactly. So both of them have a very strong opinion about progress, and I think that the theme of the film actually suggests or asks, is progress a good thing? Should we stick to what we know? Should we not push the boundary? Should we push? How far can we push? Those are the thematic questions. And these are the questions posed to the characters. So John Hammond goes, and his concept of progress at all costs gets tested by the ramifications or the consequences of his progress, and by the loss of people, loss of life, the dangers, and of course his own, and that's why his grandchildren are there, his grandchildren being there, and the possibility or the idea of maybe losing them to the progress that he has pushed towards all costs. And we see this conversation. I really love this. One of my favorite scenes, by the way, in the film is the scene between him and Dr. Ellie, where they're sitting in trying to eat the food that's no longer, like, they're trying to eat all the ice cream and stuff in the fridges because the fridges are off because the power is out, and she's having a discussion with them, and she points out to him that the cost of progress, he tells her, like, I was like investing in the future and I'm trying to push us forward, and she tells him this. She literally like voices that thematic answer and challenge, which is, at what cost, John? Like, we have people out there, Alan, Tim, and the girl, they're dying, and you see it in his face, and it's a wonderful performance by the actor. You see it in his face, just realizing that what he believes is not 100% true, and he starts to sort of change, right, internally, and he gets conflicted, and he even then he sort of says that line again, ironically, the line that represents his stance thematically, which is, spare no expense. That's what he says, spare no expense, and he talks about the food that they got. On the other hand, on the other side, we have Alan. So Alan, again, anti-progress, stuck in the past, stuck in his ways, and he goes, what happens to him? He hates technology, he doesn't like children, but throughout his journey in the park and his survival, he starts realizing how important technology is to keeping him alive, right? He's running around trying to get the power to run so that he can be safe. So it also shows him that you do need technology. You can't be 100% stuck in the past, and brings him also towards the middle ground. And his interaction with the children, he sees how the children are the future and they are the key. And one of the key moments is when the girl, when they're stuck being chased by the raptors inside the building, and the girl knows how to operate I think a Unix system or whatever it is, the computer, right? She's a computer whiz, and she's the future, and the children are going to know how to operate this technology, and her knowledge and her as the future ends up saving their life by shutting down the doors and bringing the power back on in the whole park. She actually saves everybody to show him that progress is important, the future is important. So let's see what you guys are saying. We have Khalid. Hi, Khalid. The movie points out to me, one, you can't possibly plan for everything. That's true. Two, that one should think first if one should. Very, very good point. This brings me to a very important character. One of my favorite characters actually in the film is the character of Ian Malcolm, right? Very, very famously, sort of becoming an icon of this movie. Ian Malcolm, the mathematician who discusses chaos theory, which is sort of, he also feeds into that thematically what you're talking about, which is is that we can't control everything, that life finds a way, right? He has some of the most thematic and philosophical lines in the movie because that's his purpose as a character. He's a pivotal character in voicing these questions and these on pointing out these ideas. Another really cool purpose that he serves, again now story-wise and script-wise, is he also challenges both he challenges Alan and John Hammond in conversation in two very distinct scenes. Like, first of all, he flirts with Alan's girlfriend, which annoys him, and he points out how nature finds a way and that you can't control everything and all that stuff. But he also, like, he poses a threat because the girl, like, his girlfriend likes kids and she wants to have kids someday, and he's like rigid and I don't want blah blah blah. And then he sees that they're sort of hitting it off and he's flirting with her, and then he asks him, do you have kids? And he's like, yeah, I love kids, I have, you know, he's sort of, whenever he's talking about the future and talking about moving forward and about evolution, and like he's sort of the foil to Alan. And he kind of shows him that you sort of have to embrace progress a little bit if you don't want to lose your girlfriend to this guy who likes kids and likes, you know, and thinks about the future. And also, of course, he very famously challenges I completely blacked out the name, John Hammond, in the scene. And there's also a very cool scene where they're all sitting and having dinner together after they do the tour, and they start talking philosophically whether or not this is moral, this is right, is progress good? They ask the actual thematic question, and he challenges Hammond and tells him one of my favorite lines where he says, your scientists were so preoccupied with what they could do and they forgot to stop and think whether they should, which brings me back to Khalid's point. So again, he's there to challenge those two thoughts, and in the end, the two guys, John Hammond and Alan, sort of come together to the midpoint, which I think is the point also of the book, where it's like, is progress good? Is progress bad? Is progress good? And the answer is, there is no answer. The answer is yes, it can be, and no, it also can be not good. So the answer is somewhere in the middle, and I really like how those characters were written to sort of represent both sides of that argument, and in the end sort of give us the answer that the answer is yes and no to both. Like, progress is good, evolution is good, technology can be beautiful and powerful, and it can make our lives better, but at the same time it can also be costly. There's also a limit, we shouldn't push it too far, and so on. So script wise, that's my favorite part about Jurassic Park. So let's see what you guys are saying. Neo says, I think the representation of the kids being lost to the dinosaurs is one of the coolest things, as it represents the loss of the future to the past. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. That, yeah, maybe it could also maybe like sort of hint at maybe us being extinct by the dinosaurs. I mean, you have Jeff Goldblum's character say it in the car. He says, what does he say? He says, God creates dinosaurs, God destroys dinosaurs, and then God creates man, man destroys God, and then man creates dinosaurs, you know? So that's, you know, maybe like, and then dinosaurs destroy man maybe is the next step, and maybe that's what they're hinting at, that if this gets out of hand, the dinosaurs could destroy us and we can become extinct. So that's a pretty cool point, yeah. And again, like that, even that line has this also, I mean, there is the question of becoming God and taking creation into your own hand, and the question of religion as well. There are definitely religious implications here of whether we should be creating. Should we be even honing that power or trying to mess with it, because it's a power that doesn't belong to us, and if you want to believe in a higher power, that power belongs to them, not to us, for a reason, and if we try to meddle with it, it will destroy us. Let's see. Yasser, it reminds me of the big debates during the Clinton era about cloning. I mean, that is in the 90s. It is around the same phase, discussing what we can do with technology and what should we do with technology. Khalid says, progress is good, but it bites you back. Another example, that is modern internet communication. We are more connected, but as with that we became more vulnerable, I guess. Yeah, that's a good point. We are living in an extremely technologically advanced phase now in our lives, and that can have really bad negative implications on us, and it's something to discuss. I mean, look at what happened in Jurassic Park and compare it to what's happening to us now in the coronavirus. I mean, the whole system shut down because of a virus. He put a virus in the system, and the whole park shut down and people started dying. Same thing with us. It's just one virus, and literally, guys, the world has been shut down. 2020 is canceled, and it's pretty crazy when you think about it. And you know, we are living in the most advanced time for travel as well, not just communication, for movement. Like we can travel soon. We're supposed to have bullet trains that are like super fast, that you can go to like different cities in like 10 minutes. You have bullet trains, you have so much flight and travel, and everybody can travel now, and cheap flights. It's become so accessible for us to move around, which is progress, right? When back in the day it took you back, you know, it used to take you 600 days to get from one side of the planet to the other. And in a sense, that has sort of been our demise when it came to this this virus, because how did this virus spread throughout the world? Literally through our advanced travel. We couldn't control it. We couldn't shut down our travel system. And now look at us. The whole world is kind of shut down, you know? It's very interesting to think about. Neo. Dennis Nerdy's character was interesting, but I didn't get him. Why was he such a loose cannon? Was he supposed to present that with more progress comes more greed, like everybody wants a piece? The entire story sort of pivoted by him. I'm just trying to understand what he represents. Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, let's talk about Dennis. Dennis is actually a very interesting character. For me, you're right. He is sort of the inciting incident. He is the catalyst that brought about all this destruction. And greed, as part of it, is greed, but actually I think it represents corporate greed more than anything. Because what is the reason? Why did he do this? Why did he do the virus? Because he wants to make money quickly, you know. And there's this, you know, sort of this commentary on capitalism in the 90s and the rise of corporate espionage, which started in that period of time as well. And that's definitely there in the book. And it's not that clear in the movie. It's there, but in the book, you know, there's another company that is at war with John Hammond's company, and they're trying to steal his work in order to beat him to it, right? Beat him to the punch, which happened a lot back then in the 90s. And a lot of companies, and some famous companies that are now successful, actually did it by stealing other people's work. So it's sort of corporate espionage and immorality in the thirst for profit, which was a big issue at the time. And that's, I think, what he represents for that, right? So he's stealing from, and it's also like how there's no loyalty in business, and how this new modern business era where like employees are not loyal to their companies and they just sell secrets to other companies for money. And this was happening a lot there. There weren't enough in the corporate world and in the business world to protect companies from that, and there's this disloyalty, you know, and they were relying on loyalty, and clearly it's not reliable. And that's why I think John Hammond is, I think, his father, or like he's related to him. Like he's sort of not only betraying the company, he's betraying, you know, his own family. So I think that's what he represents. Greed 100%, but specifically corporate greed, right? Corporate greed. I don't think John Hammond was in it for the money. I think he was in it because for love of dinosaurs and progress and just wanting to change the world. I don't think he was in it for greed. And I actually think he's a very beautiful character, a very fantastic main character for us. But he wasn't really a businessman. And you can see that from him constantly saying, I'm like, at all cost. Is that what he says? He says, not all cost, spared no expense. Like he's just throwing money at this thing to make it work because he's so passionate about it. And I don't think that he was doing it for corporate reasons. And I think if you compare him to Dennis's character, Dennis is just greedy, and he is a representation of corporate and capitalist greed, you know. And you see the mention of money a lot in that as well. You see the lawyers there also, who's sort of just talking about like literally this, how much money can we make from this? How did you pay for this? Like so obsessed with money that he can't see the beautiful thing in front of him and also the dangerous thing in front of him that's about to kill him. So I think that's a big part of it for me, for Dennis. Let's see what you guys are talking about. You guys are discussing. And Kia says cancel culture has gone too far. Yeah, for us now, definitely. Khalid says, I think if we had Star Trek transporters, we would be more screwed. That's true, yeah. Progress in travel. I mean, we're still kind of screwed, I would say. I don't know. And Kia says, Yasser, the idea that people on social media are canceling celebrities or other public figures for their perceived transgression, that's he's explaining cancel culture. What does cancel culture mean? Yeah, that you cancel people and they're not allowed to work anymore due to public opinion. That's what he means. Neo says, he left us guy. Yeah, he's like he's just law and like just profit obsession with profit. That's what he's there for. So yeah, I mean, Jurassic Park is just, I can sit here and talk about this for like 600 years. I think it's just a fantastic movie. Philosophically speaking, that's really all I have to say. It's a lot. But let's talk about the movie itself now as the fun popcorn flick that it is. Let's get out of it and not take it that seriously. This movie is fun. Nobody can deny. Seeing this in the cinema for the first time is just an epic experience. And again, that's Steven Spielberg. He's the master of entertaining cinema, the master of suspense, and there are some iconic scenes. I mean, let's talk about that T-Rex scene. I mean, that's a combination of CGI and animatronics, and it just looks amazing. Have you guys, I mean, again, I'm asking you guys, let me know in the comments, have you rewatched this movie in the last couple of days or not? Because I think that's an important perspective to have. It just looks really good. It looks amazing. I actually prefer I prefer the dinosaurs in this to the new dinosaurs in like Jurassic World and stuff like that, the Trevorrow trilogy. I prefer these dinosaurs. I think they look amazing. That scene is actually fantastic, you know, where they get attacked for the first time. I love how they built up the suspense so much, and that's something that they did really well. I mean, the payoff of seeing the dinosaurs attack is just so satisfying, and the reason for that is because we don't see the dangerous dinosaurs in the beginning, and that's, again, that's another staple of Spielberg's work, right? Is that he teases the dinosaurs a lot. He teases the danger, and again, this is very reminiscent of what he does with Jaws, what he did with E.T. You don't see the creature from the beginning. You spend a lot of time not seeing it, but just seeing elements of it or being hinted at before you see it for the first time, just so that when you see it, first of all, so that you're scared of it before you even see it, that you're dreading it in your head. And because our imagination is very powerful, and he really relies on our imagination in his cinema, you know. And then when the thing finally shows up, that's when, you know, like, wow, it's such a payoff. That's why we first see it. We only see like the nice animals at first, and then later we see the big monster with this big epic shot. And it just works so well. The sequence is just fantastic when they first see the T-Rex. Actually, this was sort of this was shot on like two locations. The day scenes were shot on location in, I believe, Hawaii, where they filmed the scenes there. Some stuff with animatronics, some stuff CGI later put in. And then the night scenes here with the rain, they filmed on the Warner Brothers lot. I actually visited the Warner Brothers lot back in 2017. And you can go to the street where they filmed this and where they filmed the chase scene. And it's actually pretty cool. I also really like how they did the raptors. I think the raptors are fantastic. And they are also a second element that we didn't see early on. They just teased them where they dropped the cow, and like, you know, again, like Steven Spielberg is really good at teasing the audience and getting them to anticipate and building suspense in a very nice way. So we don't see the T-Rexes, and we just they drop the cow, and they like pass by in the first tour, and like none of them show up, you know. And again, that's to go back on that comment that we think that we can control things, but we can't control nature. Nature will outmaneuver us because nature is more powerful. We're not powerful enough. And then later, when we see the raptors, are cool. Actually, they were supposed to have lizard tongues and stuff like that. The movie was sort of moving towards more lizard dinosaurs, and then they had this paleontologist like expert guiding the film, and he's the one who told them they should go more towards bird-like creatures just without feathers, and they dropped like the whole. But there is like screen test footage out there with the raptors, and they actually have the like lizard tongue, which is pretty interesting to know. Neo's asking Warner Brothers or Universal. Well, they shot on both. They shot the chase scene in the car was, I believe, on the Universal lot, but the actual outdoor scenes with the rain and everything, the rain parts, that was shot on Warner Brothers. No, it wasn't shot. It's not a Warner Brothers production, but it was shot on the Warner Brothers lot. The actual outdoor sequence with the rain was shot on the Warner Brothers lot. This some other sequences, including the chase in the car, that was shot in Universal. So, yeah, that. I mean, because the Warner Brothers lot is, especially back then, the biggest lot in Los Angeles. So yeah, it is a Universal production, but a lot of productions, even Universal productions, they shoot on the Warner Brothers lot. TV, NBC Studios, things like that, they all shoot on the Warner Brothers lot because it's so big. But yeah. What are you guys saying? Let's see. That scene, T-Rex, the T-Rex, the build-up of the suspense, how it's all shot, written, and just put together so well. Sound was huge in this movie. Of course, sound was huge in the movie. I like, one of the coolest things is just creating the sounds of the dinosaurs. And you know, this movie has such a big impact that when we think of dinosaur sounds, we think Jurassic Park. We actually don't know what dinosaurs really sounded like, and we don't know if they sounded like this. But now if you imagine a dinosaur screaming, you imagine the sound design of Jurassic Park. Imagine, like, this is art changing life, changing our perspective of something, which is pretty cool. And they used like combinations of dogs and animals and stuff to get the sounds of the dinosaurs, which is pretty cool. Yeah, let's see, what else are we talking about? Asad is saying, I really hope in 2023 they re-release the movie in cinemas for its 30th anniversary. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. I'm sure it's been re-released in a lot of places. Khalid says, isn't the not seeing the threat a classical horror filming technique? Yes, it is. It's not classical horror, it's classical cinema, and I'll tell you who coined it. The person who coined it is, of course, none other than who, by some of his films are in the hat. Maybe we'll get one. I hope so. I want to get one. Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock called this the bomb effect, right? The ticking bomb effect. He says that in order for you to build this, I'm paraphrasing, I'm not quoting, I don't memorize, I don't walk around memorizing Alfred Hitchcock quotes, but I'm paraphrasing, but you can find it online. He calls it the bomb theory. The bomb theory, or the bomb effect, I don't remember, bomb theory, bomb effect, bomb something. Talks about if you want to build the audience suspense of something that's coming, they have to know that it's coming. Like, it's the opposite of the element of surprise. It's not actually the element of surprise. So you have to sort of hint at something coming and then have it happen. So it's sort of like if a bomb is gonna explode, you have to have the audience hear it ticking in order to build the suspense towards the bomb exploding. So that's where that technique comes from. And of course, Steven Spielberg publicly idolizes Alfred Hitchcock, and you see a lot of his techniques and elements utilized by him a lot. Neo says, can we talk about how I virtually forgot Samuel L. Jackson was in this movie? Did you? His hand is very iconic, the hand drop. Yeah, he is in the movie. He was very, very young, and yeah, he's in the, I mean, it's a very, very minor role, but it's cool. I mean, I rewatched this movie a lot even as an adult. The coolest thing, and speaking of the music and the sound design and why I've seen it recently, is here in Dubai a few years ago, I think 2 years ago or so, in the Dubai Opera, they had a screening of the film with a live orchestra playing the soundtrack, playing the score from beginning to end. And guys, I cannot tell you how incredible of an experience that was. It was my first time seeing it. I mean, I went again when they did The Godfather, which was just me crying for 2 hours. But the first time I've ever seen a movie with the orchestra playing live was for Jurassic Park. And like, I remember it now and I'm getting goosebumps because it was just unbelievably awesome. And it just made me pay attention to the score so much. And of course, it made me rewatch the whole movie from beginning to end as an adult for the first time. And not for the first time, but like in a while. And it was actually absolutely fantastic. The score for this film, I mean, John Williams, what are you gonna say? It's like one of the godfathers of film soundtrack, and this is one of his best. It's just beautiful. Ahmed Sulaiman says, I remember in school during the 90s, all the kids were obsessed with dinosaurs because of this film. Yeah, I said that in the beginning. Yeah, we were all, I mean, it just put dinosaurs it made dinosaurs a thing, really. It wasn't a thing. Neo says the bomb technique is used here when they're climbing the electric fence and it's about to turn on. Yeah, exactly, because we see it. It's not just here, it's used a lot. The glass, the water. He literally shows you the clock, the ticking bomb with like the sound of the dinosaurs showing up, right? The dudum, and then like the shaking of the water, which, by the way, interestingly enough, I think most people know this bit of trivia, but just in case you don't know it, the way that they did the water, it was one of the trickiest, like the most difficult shots to do. The stupid water shot. They couldn't get the movement of the water right, and it like drove them crazy because it's an in-camera effect. It's not a special effect. It's not a GFX. The way they did it was they actually put a guitar. They put a guitar and an amp inside the glove compartment, and they were playing a guitar, and that's how they got those ripples to happen. They did it with a guitar in the end, you know, but it was actually very difficult. Yasser says, I wish I saw it at the Dubai Opera. Man, you missed it. It was amazing. If you guys ever see any of these, watch a film with the soundtrack playing live orchestra, especially those big movies with beautiful soundtracks like The Godfather, like Harry Potter, like go. It's an incredible experience. Absolutely worth the ticket. It's a whole other level of watching a movie, really. Khalid says they have found some voice boxes of some dinosaurs. I think they recreated an approximation of a T-Rex call, and it might have sounded like a chicken or a turkey. Really? That's amazing. Can you share the link with us? That would be great. I want to see that. There is some salt to that. I mean, if you can find it, that'd be amazing. Please come back and put it here in the comments. I'd love to check that out. That's really cool. Because they took bird voice boxes as a model because they are familiar. Interesting. Yeah, so again, really fantastic film. I actually really love Jurassic Park, and I think it's, again, I don't know if you guys are like, if any of what I said have sort of made you feel like this movie is a little bit, I mean, it's not underrated. It's Jurassic Park. Everybody knows Jurassic Park, but I don't think anybody really focuses on the story and the philosophy and the writing of the characters. I think that's underrated in the film because it's not just a popcorn flashy. I mean, okay, yeah, the special effects are amazing. The dinosaurs are really cool. The suspense is cool. It's such a fun ride, yeah. But there is something to it. It's not a movie that's not saying anything. It's not a movie that is just entertaining. I think it's a movie that is saying something, which is why I love it so much. Like, it has such a special place in my heart. Yasser says the trivia for this movie is cool. I mean, it's because, I mean, it's not like The Graduate where it's I saw that for the first time. This movie I've seen a million times and I've studied, you know. So yeah, it's one of those things I grew up with and I was obsessed with. And I was obsessed with how it was made. I watched all the documentaries and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Inkia says probably had feathers. They were less Jurassic Park and more giant chickens running around. Yeah, giant lethal deadly chickens for sure. Yasser says I believe that there are some documentaries about that. I think BBC. You guys, like, these are really cool. I've never seen those things, so please give me those links. I'd love to see those, and join the Facebook group. Yeah, the movie club. You will find links to it on my Facebook group or my Facebook page on Razz Reviews. Join and put these links and open up the discussion. Suggest movies. I want you guys to interact. I want you guys to have a voice. I don't want to just be me here lecturing you guys. I already have students. I do that too, and they hate it. So I want to hear from you guys. Actually, pretty cool. So yeah. Anything else you guys want to say about Jurassic Park? I mean, looking at the sequels, I'm not a big fan of the sequels, by the way, as much as I love this, and clearly I love this a lot. I'm actually not a big fan of the sequels because I think they sort of diverted away from what was so cool about this, which is not just the special effects, not just the action. It was, again, the characters, the stories, the implication, the suspense, the cinematic experience, you know, and then they just became big, loud action, you know, bigger dinosaurs, more danger, more blood, you know, and they gave this a bad rep. I really feel like it did. And Kia says, I wonder if we tried dinosaur meat, would it be tasty? I've never thought of that. I don't know. But yeah, I guess it's time for the next movie, right? How long have we been on? I need to check with my timer. Yeah, it is. We've always been an hour. Okay, so it is time for our next movie. Okay, here we go. Thank you guys for being here, by the way. Again, I actually really enjoy talking. If you leave me, like, I just have like 500 notes to go through. If you leave me to talk, I'll continue talking. Did I leave anything out? I talked about progress. I talked about the characters. Oh yeah, there's something cool I wanted to tell you guys about in the trivia. See, I almost forgot. That's actually pretty cool. See, it's good to take notes. Actually, the ending was going to be different to this movie. This is, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but actually, the ending of this film was supposed to be different, right? You know how, and this is also something, a criticism that I have against the movie. I am not a big fan of the ending, and I don't mean the whole ending to the film. I'm not a big fan of the T-Rex saving them in the end. I actually don't like that. Because to me, it feels a little bit Deus Ex Machina, which is something that comes out of nowhere and solves the problem. Because they're stuck, they're completely like surrounded by the raptors, and then suddenly the T-Rex shows up out of nowhere and saves them. And that's something as an adult I don't like. As a kid, I didn't notice. I'm like, yeah, cool, you know, idiot. But like as an adult, I don't like it writing-wise, plot-wise, because it felt like it came out of nowhere. I mean, how did he get in there? Like, is there like, how did he get in here? Like, he doesn't fit through the door. We didn't hear him. And it's one of the very few things that doesn't have a setup. Like, a lot of the appearances of the dinosaurs throughout the film are set up really nicely, and it makes sense when they show up. But this one, he just shows up out of nowhere and just happened to save them and happened to kill the raptors and not them, and not step on one of them by mistake. It just felt cheap. And then later, like down the line, I went and researched, and I found out that it wasn't actually the intended ending, and that I found I couldn't get I should have, but I didn't get them here. But there are storyboards of the original ending, and in those storyboards, Alan actually uses the skeleton, the hanging skeleton, and he sort of puppeteers it to fall on the raptors and kill them. And it sort of happens here, but it's not how they win. And the dinosaur was not there. I think Steven Spielberg changed his mind in the last minute, and I don't know why. I think he wanted he loved the T-Rex so much that he wanted to shove it in there one last time, and he wanted to end on this like big shot of the T-Rex screaming, which is, again, look, it is a cool shot and it is a cool moment, but this is one of those things where you sort of discuss cool versus good storytelling, you know? Should we allow the rule of cool to sort of take over storytelling? I'm a little bit nitpicky when it comes to that. So I don't like it because it feels like it just came out of nowhere and saved them. And I guess, you know, creatively it did come out of nowhere. So it's one of the things I don't like about the movie. But yeah, otherwise, fantastic film. It's time. We have a few minutes left. Let's do let's do it. Okay, here's my Uruhara hat. It's ready. All right. This is pretty cool. Okay, here we go. All right. What are we gonna get? What do we get? What are you guys saying? Hold on, let me open the comments. What are you guys saying? Silence of the Lamb. My God. I think the more you keep, Ahmed Suleiman keeps asking for Silence of the Lamb every week. I think you're not gonna get it just because you keep asking for it. Okay. Where are we at? All right, here we go. All right, okay, we got it. Oh, wow, that's quite a turn. All right, our next movie, guys, is... My handwriting is horrible, and I'm not a doctor. Can you see it? Adjust, you stupid camera. I think you can see it. It's Memento. God, this is horrible. Why isn't it showing? All right. Focus here, please. It's Memento. There we go. There we go. The O is there. Memento. That's our film. So, Memento. Christopher Nolan. I believe this was the feature that sort of put him on the map. His second feature, I think, if not his first. And it's, you know, it's what made him recognizable as an incredible director. So, we're going to do Memento. That's our movie next week. We're going to be live on Wednesday. So, you guys have today and Monday and Tuesday to watch it, and then Wednesday we go live again, same time. Watch it. Let's discuss a very cool movie that uses really interesting structure, which, you know, it's pretty cool. This is some of the stuff I talk about in my lectures, not the movie, but, you know, different structures to write scripts. So I can tell you a little bit about the structure of this film and what it's called and stuff like that. So that's what we're gonna watch. Memento. I haven't seen this in a long time, actually, so that's pretty cool. I haven't seen it in like maybe a decade. So that's pretty cool. I haven't seen it since college. Cool. Memento. I'm actually excited. Yeah. Are you guys excited? Yes. Memento. Interesting. Sweet. Monsieur Nolan, says Neo. awesome. I love that film. Yasser says, wow, that movie is a brain bender. It is. Yeah, I'll talk about the structure, talk about Christopher Nolan and his early career. Yeah, there's cool stuff to discuss. So I will see you guys on Wednesday. Thank you for being a fantastic audience as always. Please share, like, subscribe, turn on the notification button so you make sure that my videos show up in your timeline. Join the Movie Club Facebook group. Please talk there. Don't just sit there and wait for me to talk. This is your group, it's not my group. So talk, discuss, post your favorite films, you know, whatever, okay? And talk about this movie some more if you want. Share the links. If you guys were saying that there are sounds of dinosaurs and I don't know what, share those links on the Facebook group, the Movie Club. Invite your friends to join. Invite your friends to watch the movies with you, not physically, because we're quarantined. And good luck surviving. I hope you guys are surviving well. I'm trying. It's tough, but this is helping. Movies are helping. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Take care. Bye-bye.